which recaps the distance formula, which you did on Monday, I believe. So get going on the question that you currently see on the board. I'm going to help you out a little bit. It might not be helping out all of you. It'll definitely help out our visual learners in the crowd. So, which I am one of, which is why my go-to in any kind of analytical question is to draw a picture. For some reason, it feels like as soon as there's a picture, things make more sense. Who knows why? Okay, so if I was working that out, that's the first place I'd start. Maybe you could even say A, B, and C if you want to, so that you've got an idea of what you're dealing with. But we're trying to get the perimeter of this triangle, which means we need the distance of each side of our triangle. And your distance formula is over here. So using that and this picture, see how you go. And let me know if you have any questions. And hello to everyone who was not here when I said hello just now. You definitely are going to want your calculators in this lesson. So if you don't have them, you might want to go and grab them. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 2 more minutes on this question. I know it's not a huge amount of time, but I want us to jump into the midpoint formula. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Only 2 more days till the weekend. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna. It's tomorrow exams already. Oh my goodness. What term are we in? Is this? Are we in term 3? Where are we? Term 2. It's term 2. It's term 2, right? So these are big exams. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Term 2. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I haven't been in the classroom in a while. Okay. So if we're looking at this, I'm going to say 1 minus 2 squared plus 3 minus negative 3. Okay, but you can also just write 3 plus 3 squared. And then we're just going to chuck that into our calculator to get a vague idea. So we're going to say 1 minus 2 squared plus 3 plus 3, so 6 squared. And that gives us root 37. Oh no, pen has gone traveling. There we go. I found it. Okay. So this pink distance is root 37. What does it mean? What do we call it when we leave our answer in a root form like this? What do we say? What form is it in? Surd form. Yes. Well done. Good job. Okay. Then let's jump to our blue line quickly. So in here, it's going to be -1 minus 2 squared plus -1 plus 3 squared. So we're going to have the square root of -3 squared plus the square of 2. And we land up with root 13. How do you know which set of coordinates to use? So that's why I suggested drawing out a triangle. So we're trying to get an approximate idea of what this triangle looks like. We don't know where each one would necessarily be, but we know that if it's a triangle, those are my 3 vertices. So they are where they are. If we don't necessarily connect them the way that we thought, that's okay. That's why they've used the term approximate. So if you joined different ones, you may get a slightly different answer, and that's also okay. Okay. Our green side, we're going to do with square root of 1 plus 1 squared plus 3 plus 1 squared. So let's pop that in. And we get 2 root 5. So the approximate perimeter of this, we're just going to add those surds. So we're going to say our approximate perimeter is 2 root 5 plus root 37 plus root 13. And let's just add those in. And then we get 14,16. So there's our approximate perimeter of this triangle. Any questions? Are we happy? Sad? Somewhere in between? Good. Okay. So today's lesson is on the midpoint, which is so nice and easy. It's glorious. It's just like marks for in your pocket when it comes to tests and exams. It's great. So we're going to make sure that you absolutely smash the midpoint so that every time you see one of these questions in a test, you're like, guaranteed marks. Okay. So midpoint formula looks like this, and it looks super scary, but it is not scary at all. Be careful that in distance, when we're looking at distance, like we just did now, we're looking for a value because we're looking for the length of a line. When we're looking at the midpoint formula, we're looking for coordinates. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is point A. No, that is not point A. Okay. And this is point A. And this is point B. Okay. The coordinates of A are x1 and no, guys, I'm losing the plot. Okay, x1 and y1. And the coordinates of B are x2 and y2. Okay, so we have those 2 coordinates. The midpoint coordinates would be this glorious mix in here. That's how I would work that out. So all I do, it looks so scary, but it's not scary at all. I take my x values, I add them together, and I divide it by 2. And I take my y values, and I divide it together, and I divide by 2. So those are my y values over there, and those are my x values over there. And I land up with 2 coordinates, and those coordinates are the midpoint of my line. So it looks scary, but I promise it's not. Okay, I'm going to show you an example. Exactly, it's the middle of the line. That's all we're doing. So just so you realize how unscary this is, let me put these 2 questions up here on the board. I need to zoom out a little bit. There we go. Okay. You don't have to, but a lot of people find it easier to draw pictures. I'm saying a lot because I'm one of them, obviously, but you don't have to. I just find that it really makes the question sort of fit into your head, especially when you start dealing with when they get a bit harder, when they're giving you the midpoint. Okay, so we've got these 2 points. We've got our x values and we've got our y values. We're going to do exactly what we said just now. We're going to take those 2 x values and we're going to add them together, and we're going to divide by 2. So we're going to say, okay, our midpoint of our line for our x value. So I'm just going to separate this a little bit. The reason I'm separating it is because it's going to help you when we get to our later questions. We're going to say -4 plus 5 over 2. -4 plus 5 is 1, and so our x value is a half. Okay, so coordinate-wise, it's going to be a half. Then we're going to look at our y values. This is definitely Coco's class. Please don't panic. I'm just a substitute teacher for today. This is your grade 10 class, Coco's class. Don't stress. I'm Teacher Jen. I'm just with you for this evening. Okay. Then we look at our y values. So for our y values over here, we can say y is equal to 4 minus 1, or 4 plus minus 1 over 2. So our y value is going to be 3 over 2. 3 over 2. And those are our coordinates. Done. You don't have to do them separately. I did them separately because I think it will help you later on, but you are welcome to do it as one long equation. So you can say your midpoint is equal to big coordinates, your x values, -4 plus 5 over 2, your y values, 4 minus 1 over 2, close that up, and you will get to your same answer. Okay, so the purple is just doing it in one step. The green and yellow is just looking at them individually, which sometimes helps depending on what information you're given. But that is literally as easy as midpoints is. I know it does seem suspicious because it's too easy. They can make them a little bit trickier, which is what I'll show you a little later. But honestly, not a lot trickier, to be perfectly honest. Okay. Can you all give question 10 a try for me? So I feel like you'll be fine. We'll do a couple of these, then we'll jump into the harder ones. Give number 10 a try for me and let me know when you have an answer. Yes, absolutely. Leave it in fraction form. Whenever you're dealing with coordinates, always leave it in fraction form. It's just more accurate. Cool. Let me keep the colors the same. No answers coming in yet. Come on. Pop them in the chat. So I know you've got your brains working. Okay, getting our first answers in. Well, they are going to get a little bit harder, yes. Nice. Okay, let's write this out. So I'm going to write it as a whole line for you. So I'm going to do it like I did the purple one earlier. So our midpoint is going to be our x values. So -1 minus 6 over 2. And our y values, -6 plus 5 over 2, which gives us -7 over 2 and -1 over 2. Guys, that's it. Those are like 2 marks in your pocket. That's how great midpoints are. Is that not delightful? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple to work through over here. For why you got 11. Oh, you know why? Because I don't think you kept that as a -6. So I think you said 6 plus 5 instead of -6 plus 5. I think that's where the 11 came from. Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you, I want to find some negatives because negatives always seem to mix everyone up. I'm going to pop these on the board over here. See how many you can get through. I will put the answers up so that you can check if you're right. If you don't get to all of them, then you can check afterwards. I'm going to give you some time to do these, and then I'll slowly start putting the answers up on the board. But please ask questions as you need. You're welcome to send them as direct messages if you're feeling embarrassed. But all I'm wanting for these is the midpoints of these two coordinates. Yes, absolutely. Which is what we're going to be doing next. So the next part of this lesson is where we're given a variable and we have to find out what it's going to be. That's what we're going to do next. Hi, Berkeley. Yes. So 6/2, rather leave that as 3 because it's a whole number. Okay, I'm going to start popping up the answers on the board as we're going along. So I'm just going to, but I'll go through them nice and slowly so that I'm not rushing anyone. I want us to move on to the next section at about past. So you've got some time to work through these. So 5 plus 1 over 2 and 0 plus 4 over 2, which means our coordinates are going to be 3 and 2. Okay. I think I was getting those answers, which is great. Narisha, awesome. Boo, awesome. Like every couple of minutes, I'll give an answer, but you can just work through them at your own pace. You can welcome to take a screenshot of them now while they're empty. So if you don't get them finished in this lesson, you can do them afterwards and the answers will be up on the board. Oh, I'm seeing some good answers. Princess, I like it. Let's do rainbow colors as we work through these questions, guys. Let's just keep things nice and interesting. So we're going to have -9 plus 7 over 2 and 3 minus 8 over 2. So we're going to land up with -2 over 2, which is -1, and then -5 over 2, which we're going to leave as -5/2. Guys are too clever. You're getting these so quickly. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna give you one more. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. Oh no, I did push record. I just had such a panic. Oh, okay, we're all fine. Panic resolved. Yeah, I'm liking that, Princess. That's great. Pop this in. So we're going to have -2 minus 7 over 2 and 9 plus 7 over 2, which is going to be -9 over 2. So we're going to leave it as -9 over 2. And then we're going to have 16 over 2, which is 8. Ah, you called the Avengers. Well, that makes a lot of sense. You are so quick. That makes a lot of sense. You are living up to your name, guys. You can tell Coco that you've lived up to your reputation. The awesome thing with these questions, guys, is you get 2 marks because you get 1 for each value, which is delightful. Yeah, right? It's just like, yes, thank you. I will take those 2 marks and I'm going to pop them in my pocket. Thank you and goodbye. Precisely. My mom always used to say the difference between a B and an A is 1 mark. Okay, so we're going to have 5 minus 3 over 2 and 10 plus 6 over 2. So we're going to get 2 over 2, which is 1. And then we're going to have 16 over 2, which is 8. Let's do 5. -1 plus 3 over 2. -6 plus 0 over 2. And we're going to land up with 2 over 2, which is 1. And then -6 over 2, which is -3. So the thing is, I agree with you, teacher, but it will be this easy. It just won't necessarily look this easy. So for example, they could give you a triangle that looks like that. And let's say the coordinates of this are 5 and 10, and C is -3 and 6. And they could say in the question that they would like the midpoint of AC. That's exactly what you've done here. So yes, it doesn't look as easy because it will be within a picture. And as soon as we see things in pictures, like on those analytical pictures where there's coordinates everywhere and dots everywhere, we panic. So yes, it will look harder, but it's exactly the same thing. Can you explain question 4? why you have +1 and you got a -1. Sure, absolutely. So if we have a look here, we've got 5, and then we are adding -3. So we land up with 5 minus 3, which is +2. And so +2 over 2 is going to give us a +1. Also, remember, you're welcome to use your calculators for these little bits. So like, just in your calculator, put the fraction 5 minus 3 over 2, and then it will sort out your answer for you. Then you know you're going to get it right, which is always helpful. Okay, last one of these types of questions, then we get into the more juicy ones. So we're going to have 8 minus 2 over 2 and 1 minus 5 over 2. It is. This is nice, easy, grade 9 stuff. And we land up with 8 minus 2, which is 6. So 6 over 2, which is 3. And then 1 minus 5, which is -4. -4 over 2 is -2. And those are your answers. Please feel free to take a screenshot of these if you did not get all of the answers. And we are going to jump into something a little bit juicier. Get your brain juices flowing. Okay. Okay, so what happens? So we'll get down to the challenge. What happens if they give you the midpoint? So, for example, and this is why I did that very first question the way that I did. You'll see why now. You are given a line. You are given A and B, and you're given a midpoint. Let's call it M. Okay. How is 3 the midpoint? 4 over is not 3. Are you talking about this one over here? Because that's saying 8 minus 2, which gives us 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay. No, it's okay. Don't worry. So let's say that the coordinates for A were 2 and 4. And now let's say that they gave us a midpoint, which was 6 and 8. And they didn't give us point B. So because they didn't give us point B, I'm going to say that it's X and Y, because point B is something we don't know. All right. You know the formula, how to work out the midpoint. Let's write that back quickly up here. Our midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1. What did I just write? y1 plus y2 over 2. How do I figure out how to use that formula to get these x's and y's? What's the first thing I'm going to want to do? Yeah, exactly. I'm going to substitute the values. So I'm going to substitute what I know and what I'm trying to figure out. So we're going to kind of break this formula up into 2 pieces. We're going to look at our x values, and then we are going to look at our y values. Okay, so let's start with our x values. Our midpoint is 6. So we're going to say 6 is equal to our 1x value, which is 2, plus our second x value, which is x, and we're dividing that by 2. That's all we got to do. Then we work it out like a normal equation. So 6 times 2 is going to give us 12. So 12 is equal to 2 plus x. Move that 2 over. So x is equal to 10. Then we do the exact same thing for our y values. So let's get a blue pen happening over here. So our midpoint for our y value is 8. It's equal to 4 plus y over 2, which means 16 is equal to 4 plus y. And so y is equal to 12. And so the coordinates of my midpoint are going to be 10. Oh, guys, I'm talking absolute nonsense. The coordinates of point B are going to be 10 and 12. Does this make sense? Do we have questions? Okay, so ma'am, you must multiply by the 2 to get rid of the base. And then exactly, we multiply by the 2. So we take that 2 over, and then we just do it as a normal equation. It's not so bad, Narisha. The reason that it seems bad in tests is because they won't give you the X and Y, for example. So you just see this as this thing of like, well, how am I going to get something I don't have any values for? Because I don't know what point B is. And so if you substitute in X and Y, it makes life nice and easy for you. I will absolutely explain this again. I'm going to explain it with the next question so long. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, please feel free. And then I'm going to explain one fully again to everyone. And then I'm going to give you one to do by yourselves. Okay. I want to, ooh, what's this little challenge? Okay, well, let's see if we have time for it. You do have your quiz tonight, though. I'm just trying to keep in mind for that. Okay. Let's read this question. They tell us that we have an end point of -2 and 7, and they're telling us we have a midpoint of 12 and -10. Oh, yeah. I can absolutely go back. Sorry, did not mean to rush you. Thanks. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to put this into a little picture to help us out. Let's get a, ooh, no, we want this one. Okay. So we've got a line. They've told us one of the endpoints is -2 and 7. They've told us that our midpoint is 12 and -10, and we don't know what our other endpoint is. That's what we're trying to solve. You're trying to find that value. So you're trying to find X and Y. So if we say this is point A, and this is point B, and this is point M, we're trying to find the coordinates of B, basically. Okay. So we're going to do exactly what we did in the last one. We're going to look at our X values first. So we've got -2, 12, and X. We take our midpoint. So 12 is equal to X1 plus X2 divided by 2. That's our midpoint formula. Okay. Take this 2 over. So 12 times 2 is 24. 24 is equal to -2 plus X. Take your 2 over. So that's going to be 24 plus 2. I'll write that in case anyone is feeling lost. So we have 26 is equal to X. Okay, so that's our first spot. Then we look for the Y values. Okay, so our Y values, we've got 7, -10, and Y. Good, I'm glad. Okay. Sometimes you just need to see it for a second time and it falls into place. Our midpoint is -10. Y1 is 7, Y2 is Y, and we divide it by 2. Multiply that 2 up. So -20 equals 7 plus Y. Move that 7 over. So -20 minus 7 equals Y, which means -27 equals Y. And so that means that the coordinates of B are going to be 26 and negative 27. Are we good? Are we happy? Do we have any questions? Okay. I'm going to move on for you to give one a try now. Bloop, 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 bloop. Here we go. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to highlight. I'm not going to draw. I want you to figure it out, read the question, think about what you need to do, and then give me your beautiful answers. But remember, if you have questions while you're working through this, ask away. My recommendation would always be to start by drawing a picture, but not everyone learns the same way as me. So you must do what works for your brain. When you are done, pop your answer in the chat for me. I can get an idea of where we're all at. My cat has come to join us. Any cat lovers out there? Little brain buffs. Cat, yes. There he is. Whoop, he almost fell off the table. He's coming to say hi. Hi, cat. Yes, yes. He did visit it last year quite often. Okay, so I'm going to start with my x values over here. And I'm going to say 10 is equal to 11 plus x over 2, which means 20 equals 11 plus x. And so x is equal to 9. Cool. So we have that value over there. Tail. Now let's look at our y's. We've got 14, 14, and y. So we have 14 is equal to 14 plus y over 2, which means 28 is equal to 14 plus y. And so y is equal to 14. So our coordinates are 9 and 14. Superb. Okay, let's do 2 more questions like this. And then if we have time, we can have a look at the challenge question. And then I'll give you a link for your quiz. Take a screenshot if you need. Remember, ask questions if you need to ask questions. Yeah, you can speak to the cat. I'm not sure he'll be too helpful. He is now left. He's gone to find food. And my dog is asleep after she annihilated my hat. Okay, let's look at these 2 questions. Yeah. I would wake her up to say hello, but then she'll be awake. Okay, so give these 2 questions a go. When you have your answers, pop them in the chats. If they're seeing them because they're walking in the camera. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna have 6 is gonna be 10 plus x over 2. So 12 is equal to 10 plus x, which means x is equal to 2. Superb. And our y's, 9 is equal to 12 plus y over 2. So 18 equals 12 plus y, which means y is equal to 6. So my coordinates, always be careful. If they ask for the coordinates of the point, you have to give them the coordinates. You can't just leave it as x and y, 2 and 6. That's our final answer. That's the golden ticket. Okay, I'm going to give you 1 more minute to work on this question. I'm loving the answers that are coming in. Okay, let's have a look. So let's look at our x values first. So we have 3 is equal to negative 11 plus x over 2. Which means 6 is equal to negative 11 plus x. And so 17 is equal to x. There's our x value. Let's look at our y values. Negative 11 is equal to 9 plus y over 2. So negative 22 equals 9. Sorry, my cat is trying to move my bed. 9 plus y. So y is equal to negative 31. The cat is everywhere. He's everywhere. He is a lot right now. And so our x value is 17 and our y value is negative 31. Super. Do you find this nice and easy, guys? Does it feel like easy marks in a test? I'm hoping so. Okay. Let's have a look at this challenge question and see where we're at. Okay. Okay. Challenge. On a map, the fire station is located at -2 and 6, and the church is at 6 and -6. What are the coordinates for the post office if it is located exactly a quarter of the way from the fire station to the church? So we've got our fire station over here. That's our fire station. And its coordinates are -2 and 6. And then we've got a church over here. That's more like a hospital. I tried my best, guys. It's okay. It's fine. It's just, oh gosh, I'm not an artist. Okay, here's my church. There we go. That's on a little building. Cool. Still looks like a hospital. That's fine. And my church coordinates are 6 and -6. Okay, so we have got these 2 points on a map. The question is not as complicated as it seems. Read it nice and carefully. They're looking for the post office, which is located exactly a quarter of the way from the fire station to the church, okay? So this would be exactly halfway. That's halfway. And what is halfway? How do we work out halfway? How do we work out the coordinates of halfway? What is it? It's our midpoint, exactly, okay? It's our midpoint. Good. And our our post office is over here, which is what? If this is our post office, what is it? It's the, yes, it's the quarter point, but it's the midway point between those two. So our first goal is we want to find the halfway point, and then we can find the quarter point. So it sounds like a difficult question, but it's actually not so bad when you break it down a little bit. So start by finding your midpoint. So start by finding this halfway point. That's how we're going to start. Come on, I know you know how to work out midpoints, guys. How do you recognize it in the exam? Okay, I know that I've said this now like multiple times, and so you're going to think I'm just repeating myself. Honestly, the best way to break up these tricky questions is to draw pictures. Honestly, because like when you sit in a question, the answer starts coming to you if you draw it out and you figure out what you know. Okay, so this big halfway point over here, we're going to have -2 plus 6 over 2 and 6 minus 6 over 2. And so that's going to give us 4 over 2, which is 2, and 0 over 2, which is 0. Okay, so we have that midpoint. Now that you have this point and this point, can you figure out where our post office is going to be? While you're figuring that out, I'm going to grab your quiz link so that I've got it ready. 100%, Narisha. I absolutely love that your teacher said that. 100%. I support that exactly. You should be highlighting things. You should be drawing things. The last thing your math teacher wants to see is an empty page, because if you interacted with the question, then you halfway through. Okay, so let's have a look. For this post office point over here, we now have -2 plus 2 over 2 and 6 plus 0 over 2. And so -2 plus 2 is 0. 0 over 2 is 0. So we're going to have 0. And then 6 over 2 is 3. So the coordinates of our post office are 0 and 3. Challenge completed. That wasn't so bad, was it? What? That's okay. Make sure everything on the screen makes sense, and if it doesn't, ask a question. Okay, are you wrong if you looked for the post office using the midpoint and the fire station? No, that's right. The post office is the midpoint of this post office over here. That's our post office. It is the midpoint of the fire station and the midpoint of our big line. For the 6 plus 0, where did you get it from? I got it from this 6 over here and this 0 over here. Midpoint of the first half of the midpoint, exactly. No problem. That is what I'm here for. Okay, my lovely little lambs.